Hello, welcome to Codersaurus. In this episode, we're going to create a web application, kind of similar to the ones we've been creating in the past, task-based, basically a task list. But in addition to that, we're going to create a mobile version, and that way you can see how the mobile portion of Apex is working. I'm also going to add a few options that I haven't done in the past on the task application, and we're going to go from scratch. That way, if you haven't seen the others videos, no worries. We'll be able to start from scratch right here. So the first thing I want to do is I actually want to create a couple of tables. We're going to create a GTD or how about Apex task table, and we'll give it an ID and task title. And actually, I'm going to keep a real simple title. We'll give it a priority, and I'll show this time I will show how to populate dropdowns, and we'll see how that affects the mobile version. Priority will do 100 as well, maybe 20 characters, and context 20, and then notes 4,000. Okay, now let me turn this off. Okay, so now I'm gonna click the next button. We're populating with a new sequence, and I'll change the name here. The primary key name is going to be that, my new sequence. And for those of you who haven't looked at any of the other videos, a sequence is basically it's like an auto number, it assigns a unique number to a field. In this case, our ID field, which is our primary key. Those are just some database basics. We will not have any foreign keys, and I don't want to add any additional constraints at the moment. So we'll go ahead and create that table. I'm going to create a second table. We'll just call this Apex customer. They're my customers, basically the people that I'm doing the task for is what and we'll leave 100 for their name, can't be blank. We'll populate this one from a new sequence. Customer, and the primary key is the ID. I change the name to lowercase. Again, no new foreign key, no additional constraints. We'll just go ahead and create the table. So if we look here, we should have a task table and a customer table. Now let's go ahead and start our application, and this is going to be the desktop version of the app. So we'll go ahead and click Create Application, click on Desktop, and we'll call it Apex Tasks. And we'll leave everything as is. We'll give it a red theme style. Now from here I can actually add a few pages to my application, and I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to create a report and form for both my customer and my tasks. We'll add that, and I'll show you in a bit what that does. And I'm going to add a second one for the customer table. And actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm not sure if I didn't pick the right ones, so I'm going to delete those. And pick the right table this time for tasks. Should be Apex task. Okay, so we have two tasks, and well, we have a report and a form for tasks, report and form for customers. Click next. We don't want to copy any shared components at the moment. We will add in some defaults for our dates. And I always set it up like this. It only affects some of the defaults. You can change them later though. And you could even save this as a design for applications a model for an application later on so that you didn't have to enter all of that from scratch. I won't be doing that. So I clicked on Create Application. We do have to be patient. This is running on a server hosted by Oracle, and there's probably a lot of other workspaces on that same server, so it's queued up for creation. If we are hosting this ourselves, then I'm sure the performance gets a lot better. And Apex is one of those application frameworks that allows you to host yourself, or there's hosted options out there for you, like most frameworks. Okay, so that was successful. We can go ahead and run that and just see, what do we get right off the bat? So we get a username, password. So we get authentication and a login form. So we can log in. And just to explain a little bit, I'm going to go back and I'm going to go to the admin area for Apex. Now I've actually got a demo user created in Apex. And so the way this is working is that application, the Apex tasks application that I just created, if I look at its security, the authentication is the scheme that it's using is Application Express. And we could actually add different authentication schemes. You can create your own authentication scheme. So if we go here, define authentication scheme, we could create our own from scratch. And for example, we could pick, actually, let's do as a copy of an existing scheme. Well, I won't actually go into that, but just know that you can create your own authentication schemes, and you can get very detailed, including OAuth, OAuth 2, and I'm sure I've seen other authentication schemes based on, Facebook, Twitter authentication, things like that. So I'm gonna run the application again, and we'll see that we have a task area, so we can actually create new tasks. And here's my title, priority, context. So buy groceries. I guess I do that one a lot. So now what we'll notice is priority and context, they actually don't have any. I want those to be select lists. And so what I can do here is I can go to quick edit. I can click on priority, and I can control the type of field that it is. Right now it's a text field. It could be a select list. And so now I'm getting a message here that I actually need to put in the values. And so the values, I got a lot of options here. I'm going to actually say these are static values, and I'm going to go ahead and just enter some. So we can display critical and return critical. We can display high and return high. We can display low and return low. Okay, let's save that and see what it does. So now instead of getting just a free text field, we get that. And we didn't have any help. These are actually just by default loading in there. The other thing I notice is that this form is kind of wide. I'm going to go ahead and edit the region, and I think the grid will say should start on 1 and go out to about half of the screen, which is, we're based on a 12 column grid, so that'll be about half. That's a little bit better. And I could change the alignments of these labels to be left, or even make it a smaller. Let's make this a little wider. Actually, we'll make the notes. Okay, so we actually want to make that a little bit larger. Right now it's a text field. We can make it a text area, and then that gives us the options of making it a different size. Let's say we want it 50 pixels. or I'm not sure if that's pixels or characters. We'll make the other one the title 50 as well. It may just be a generic unit of measure. Okay, and then context, we're actually gonna, we'll make it similar to priority in that it should be a drop-down list. Now, one of the things I want to do next is I actually want to look, before I change that, I want to look at the creating the mobile app, because what I want to do is I want the mobile app and the desktop web app to share these lists of values, these drop-down lists. Let's see, we'll go ahead and go back to our application builder, and we'll click create. We'll do a mobile app, and we'll call it Apex Tasks. Oh wait, Apex Tasks mobile app. Okay, and it's going to be a mobile solution. We'll make it blue this time. And I'm going to add a couple of pages here as well. And we'll notice that the pages are different for mobile applications. We can have a list view. So I'll go ahead and pick the list view, and we'll make home be the default. And we're going to pick Apex Task, and the title is going to be the display column. And I'll show that in a second. And then we'll add a second one so that we can keep track of our customers. And that'll be Apex Customer. And for them, it's the name that we want to show. Okay, so we'll click Next. Very much the same thing as when we're creating a desktop app. We've got to pick some of the default options. So we'll do that. And we'll click Create Application. And just so we make sure that we're wiring everything up, I'm going to run that application. And as soon as it's done, we'll be able to see it. Over here I have a simulator. It's called iOS Simulator. It's basically like an iPhone simulator. So we'll click Run, and I can see it here in Chrome, and I can see this is actually based on jQuery Mobile. I can go home, but what I'd like to do is, let's see if I may have to go ahead and type the address in. Okay, there's the address, and I can use the same demo user. So this mobile app has authentication as well. Let's go ahead and create a task. And actually, that wasn't the right way to go. I can click Home, Apex Task. And actually, let me see something. I'm not seeing the Create button. So let's see what we created. Go ahead and look at Apex Task. I may have picked, I picked the wrong one. Let me go ahead and add a couple of pages to this. I'll delete that Apex Task. Go ahead and delete that. That's here. Delete. Yes, delete the list entries. Actually, I think the easier thing to do is let me just delete the whole thing, and we'll start over. To delete an application, you go to the main page of the application, just click delete, and it'll permanently delete it. So let's go ahead and create that again. I picked the wrong options there. We'll do Apex Mobile Tasks, and all that's good. And then here's where we add pages. I need to be careful to add the correct ones. It wasn't just list view, it's list view with a form.